Team, I am super pumped to share this video with you. This one changed my life, and it came from a mentor many years ago now, and it's had a profound effect on my own personal success, my application to my goals, my training, my health, my nutrition, etc. So the statement was, emotions are skills. And for me, I always felt like my emotions had control of me. It wasn't until this statement that something clicked inside my mind, and I hope that you get that same shift today. I hope you get that same click, because for me, I was always reactive to my emotional state. And even growing up, I was labeled as someone who wore his heart on his sleeve, and my mother even used to say, "You've got a big heart, Ben, you're a softie." And I used to take things to heart. So naturally, I always kind of developed this psychology that my emotions controlled me, not the other way around. And when I kind of got hold of this, it was a game changer, because I realized that if emotions are skills, I can work on them. Just like I played sport my whole career, I learned how to play AFL and how to kick a football, how to catch a football. That terminology really appealed to me, and it's just like that. You know, when we're looking at mindset stuff and when we're looking at emotional management, we kind of had this stigma on it because it's something that we can't see. It's inside of our mind. But you know, just like a bicep curl, we can train it, and we have to kind of like, you know, get a little bit vulnerable and open ourselves up to that. But this is the perfect platform to do this, because there's no one here with us. It's just you and me, and you and your thoughts, most importantly. And this video is going to help prompt you into how you manage your own emotional state in the moments that matter most to your results. So when it comes to our own personal emotional management, what we're really trying to understand is how our emotions are affecting us in the moments that matter, right? Because most of the time we're fine, we're generally happy, we're upbeat, we're on track, but then something happens. It could be a tough day at work, it could be a fight with a loved one, it could be the kids playing up and just being disobedient, and it just sends you off and you go for a comfort eat, or you know, you binge watch Netflix and you don't do your workout. Whatever it is, something happens, there's a trigger. Now we are going to go through a video just on triggers, right? So you can kind of deconstruct that and understand what those triggers are for you. But in this video, I want to kind of show you the emotional spectrum here, right? So we've got the negative, we've got the neutral, and we've got the positive. Now, often we want to try and live in the neutral as much as possible, because there's a bit of danger at being in the negative, and you can also be too positive in some cases, right? And I'm an ultra positive person, if you can't already tell that, right? So I want to kind of identify those dangers of being a bit high-low, so you kind of got an understanding on that, and then we're going to go through kind of the positive side and the negative side and kind of tie it up like that. So in the neutral place, this is where we're going to be when making, you know, our big life decisions, and just in our general mood, right? We're not too kind of up and down, and from that place we can operate quite well, you know, just do our life quite well. We can do work well, we can maintain our schedule, we can look after our commitments, that kind of thing, right? The thing is, when we start to get a bit too positive, we can often set goals that are way too high for ourselves, and I'm like totally guilty of this. Not so much these days, because I understand my limitations and I understand the expectations I have of myself. Like, I just don't have those anymore. But when I was in a really positive state, I'm like, I can take on the world, I can climb mountains, I can do it all. But obviously we come down off that curve, and then we get back to a neutral state, and then we start to see the enormity of the task in front of us. And I'm not sure if you've ever gone through that, but often that can feel quite overwhelming. And that can kind of like start to bring us back into a state of negativity about our goals. What happens is that we never actually end up starting. We kind of just stop, spin our wheels for a long time, and eventually we kind of evolve past those kind of things that we want anyway. The thing that we want to do though is we want to kind of get progress. We want to move forward. So the goals that we do set for ourselves, we want to actually achieve them, right? It's just futile energy if you're setting goals and not achieving them. So if we can eliminate that process, then we're on the right track straight away, right? So then there's a couple of kind of, I guess, identity traits from the positive person and the negative person. So, you know, often the negative person, quite irrational in their behavior and their thought process about themselves. They're not true, they're just telling themselves a story to kind of like replay that and reaffirm that what is happening to them is actually real, when in fact they have the power to change it. They just want to live in a negative state, right? So it's hard to say, and it's a tough love approach, but it's the truth, right? So what comes on the negative side is obviously self-sabotage, a victim mindset, blame, and a sense of hopelessness, like a sense of like, I can't do this for myself, right? I'm not able, I'm incapable of doing this for myself. However, the positive person, they move into a position of self-love instead of self-sabotage. They take ownership of their life and their decision making, because that re-empowers them. So if you're a negative person, you're disempowering yourself by giving your power away, saying, this always happens to me, this is my life, and you're playing the victim card. You're operating from a place of no power. You've got to step out of that, break that, and then move into a place where you take ownership and you reclaim that power for yourself. Because if we've got the ability to identify that, that means that we got the ability to change it, right? We become self-aware in that moment. So that's where we start to kind of click into what self-awareness is. And self-awareness simply is understanding, our triggers, our emotional kind of setbacks that happen to us, our patterns, and then our behavior from that. The self-limiting behavior, the harmful stuff, the toxic stuff that holds us back from getting to where we want to go, right? Now, as we start to become more self-aware, we kind of start to really believe that we can do this, right? So that's the traits of the positive person. And if you're someone that you're not sure where you sit on this right now, maybe you've got a bit of positive, maybe you've got a little bit of negative, maybe you flip between both. It's very common that happens. What we want to try and do is we want to try and adopt more of the positive mindset, right? And then understand that when we're in this place, we have to work hard to flip it out. So you can do this in a few ways. You can do this by, meditation. You can do this by gratitude practice. We can do this by affirmations and journaling and reflection. We can also do this just from training. That's going to change your whole biochemistry and how you're feeling about yourself in that moment, right? So the worst thing is when we're in this place is to sit in it. But that's often the kind of thing that we do because we don't actually want to do anything when we're feeling negative. All we want to do is sit down, slouch, watch TV, and eat comfort food, right? So we can't do that if we want to move forward and achieve our goals, right? So in summary, emotional management is the key to success, right? So a lot of people talk about they don't have time. Well, it's not necessarily that they don't have time management. It's their emotional management. It's the management of their emotions in the moments that matter. I want you to write that down and really rehearse that statement, because if you can actually really grasp that, you'll have such a better understanding of yourself, and especially in the moments that matter. When you do want to go, for a servo trip and buy some ice cream, or when you do want to skip your workout, right? So we have to understand that if we control our emotions there, if we control that, we will win. You will win. You will achieve your goals, right? So you don't have to always be on the up. We're living in the neutral place most of the time, but sometimes we have to fight back against the negativity that comes and try and steal what we're doing and what we're working on for ourselves, right? And that's not anything that you've done often. That's the stuff that comes in. That's just life. It's that shitty day at work. It's a disobedient kids. It's a terrible traffic. But we got to rise above that. We got to take ownership, and we got to just let that wash and stay focused on the positive side. Adopt that mindset and control your emotions, right? So I hope that helps. Ask me any questions. Leave a comment below on this video. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next video.